Hey everybody, welcome to Barrel Racing Photography and Equine Photo School's course. I'm going to take you back a long time ago. Back to the early days at all these images when I was just first starting. So this is within the first few months, maybe the first 2-3 months of me picking up my very first camera. And I want to take you back to what I was doing then so you don't make the same mistakes that I did and you progress so much faster than what I did. So let's dive right in. We're going to talk about good timing versus bad timing. I'm going to just talk to you a little bit briefly about each photo, why it's good, why it's bad, what you could do to make it better, that sort of thing, so you can learn from my mistake. This first shot we've got right here, this is bad timing. I mean, you know, when you're first getting started at barrel racing photography, especially if you don't know anything about barrel racing, which I did, I've been around barrel racing my whole life. But if you're really new to it or you're just starting to, capture your first barrel racing images, things are moving fast. Like these girls on these horses are flying around these barrels. And, it just feels like you got to get ahead of the game, okay? So what I felt like at the time was like I need to start taking pictures earlier so that I could make sure that I get the shot going around, right? For some reason in my head, it was like if you push the button earlier, then you're going to be ready to push the button later. I don't know, whatever. I learned later to time out my shots, but at first it was like spray and pray is what we call this. And that's when you just hold down the trigger and you go brrr, and you blast a bunch of shots. That's basically what this turns out. So I was starting out here, like as she's not even close. Like you can see she's not even close to this barrel yet. She's just started to lean into it to make the corner. This is first barrel. And she's just coming in. And this is the horse's butt. And her butt is sometimes they pop their butt out of the saddle. So I've had so many of these ladies, especially as they get a little bit older, they say, please do not ever take this butt shot. Please stop doing this. I've had a few buy it. Very few will buy this. But for the most part, most people just want to click on buy as fast as they can. And I'm showing these on 50-inch screens, right? Like we'll talk about the booth stuff and whatever other videos. I'm showing this big. Like it's very big for the whole world to see. They don't like that. They say, click on, hurry. Don't take the butt shot. This doesn't hardly sell at all, and it's just not worth the fight. Hey, this next shot kind of coming in. We're still like way too early. Like nothing's happening here. And we've got other problems here too that we can talk about in other videos. This one's about timing and not about our camera settings or whatever, but we've got a lot of issues here. Barrel racers like to see the barrel, imagine that. And she's popped up out of her saddle. Like this is just like a weird time with this horse, and it's still like they're both pointed away. You're starting to see their faces, but just barely, and you just get a big picture of her butt. So we don't really love that either. Same kind of thing. And then here, this horse is all gathered up underneath of himself, so that doesn't look good. You got one leg planted, 3 legs up. This is just like a weird position for this horse to be in. She's kind of gathered down. She's like planted this way, hanging on for dear life, that sort of thing. So this isn't a great shot. Look at this horse's bottom jaw is like weird, but like mostly when you do barrel racing photography, just watch the horse's feet and nothing else. You don't need to worry about anything except for the horse's feet. When the horse looks good, take the picture. This is a good picture. These back legs aren't really together. They're not both down in the dirt. This one's still back a little bit, but this horse is starting to come around. So this is a pretty good shot, and this would definitely sell. I've even made like a silhouette that's similar to this, and people bought it on t-shirts and stuff. It's definitely a cool shot, and this would sell. I don't shoot this when I'm strobed because they're not quite around that barrel yet, and if you flash and then they want to blame you for knocking over that barrel, even though it probably wasn't your fault or the flash's fault, they probably just were going to knock over that barrel anyway. I wait on strobes until they're past, so I don't take this shot when I'm strobed, but I do if I'm just natural light. Although this doesn't really look that great, what we wanted is this is just like a tiny bit too soon. So we got one leg planted, but not both legs planted. And then she's kind of popped up and she's doing something weird here, but this horse is almost there. So this shot is just like a fraction of a second too soon. We got this leg down, but we want both those legs planted in the front, and we want that back end to have come down too. We want that dug in. And then this one is just like a hair too late. It's not bad. Like this is a pretty good shot. It'd been nice if this was down. I don't mind that this inside leg is up and the other 3 are down. This looks nice. The horse doesn't look like it's going to tip over. It looks like it's going fast. You can see everything is going in the same direction, right? And she's looking here, looking towards second barrel. This is an awesome shot. Everybody is going to buy this shot. Well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people are are going to buy this shot. Ideally, I probably would have liked to have it just a second before, just between this shot and this shot. There was a shot with both legs planted in the ground. That would have been great. This next shot, bad shot again. Like, it's only like this far. Like, you can see that horse hasn't even moved hardly at all. And here we are. This shot, the legs are kind of gathered up underneath of him. Hasn't started to drive to the next one. Hasn't gotten into the next stride yet. She looks good. She's here planted nicely and looking, but this horse kind of giving the crazy eyes. You can't help that. But these feet, they're all kind of like bunched up. So this is just like quite a bit too late or a tiny bit too early. So if these back legs were down and the front legs were up driving, this would have been a better shot like this. So we have the back legs down and driving and the front legs are up and going. And you can see the exposure changes between these frames too. These are unedited, straight out of camera. Back in the day, this arena was really hard to shoot with. The lights were bad. So I put it on some automatic settings, which I would never do now, you know, but back then I was just trying to get some pictures, right? Don't use auto exposures, but basically we'll go into that in a different video. Here's what we want. This timing up here where these legs are up and driving, this horse's head is pushing forward. Like, this horse is putting his ears back. She's in a good position, but this horse is ideal. This is really good spot. This is what we want to see coming out of first barrel. Same thing here. This shot and this shot, these last two, either one of these would be great. This one's even better, even more powerful. You know, we got both those back legs planted, pushing. She even looks like she's smiling in this picture. Like, man, she's going to buy this picture. There's definitely, aside from being slightly out of focus, it's a good shot. This will sell all day long. This one coming in, if I'm strobed, again, I wouldn't take this picture. It is kind of cool, and some people do like this as they're coming in shot. I would have liked to have seen this hoof planted just a tiny bit more or been just like a little bit back so this horse's head wasn't straight above the barrel. This is just a tad late or a tad early. It's right in between the two shots that I really ideally would rather have. On either side of this would have been a really good shot. This shot, not great. The horse's legs are kind of just all gathered up here. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see the legs necessarily gathered up unless they're running home really fast and you get like that Pony Express kind of look, you know, where they're all up off of the ground. But if they're just like kind of gathered up trying to make something happen coming around that barrel, not a good shot. You know, the head looks good here and she looks good here, but it's just way too early. This is a little bit more of like your classic shot. We would ideally want both feet planted in the front here, both front feet planted, but having this one leg up and driving around, some horses don't necessarily plant both coming around. Some more like crawl around the barrel, so they don't ever have both front feet planted at the same time. Just kind of depends on the horse, but this is a good shot. This would sell often. Ideally, as a photographer, I would want to be further to the right a little bit as she came around this because you would get that better angle. So I was a little bit too far to the left as the photographer where I was sitting, but this is a good classic second barrel shot. Not bad. She would have bought this. This one, a little bit too late. See, both legs were planted here. You can see, but now this horse is starting to pick up its outside leg, so we don't want that. Once again, it's kind of just gathered up underneath of himself. Just not that great of a shot. Kind of looks like it's about to fall over. She looks good here in her position, but she's got a little bit too big of a gap around that barrel too, which you can't help. Just, you know, take the picture as they do it and don't worry about that. I've moved lots of barrels for people. They're like, oh, can you move that barrel a little closer? So that's how you get good at Photoshop, my friends. This is okay, but again, two shots back, this is much better. You know, if this was planted, this would have been the shot, but this is a little bit late. And then this one, just not a good shot. Just this horse doesn't look very good coming around. It's like, it's got some action. There's some dirt flying, people like that, but not really that great. Again, gathered up underneath of him. This is not a good shot. This horse looks like it's about to fall over. Not real cool. And you got these legs are just sprawled out all over. Not a good look. Hey, this is pretty good shot. I would rather these front legs were out a little bit further. Like if I would have waited a couple milliseconds later, like this horse would have been stretched out more and driving towards this third barrel. But right now it's just like rearing up is more what it's doing. There's more momentum up than forward. So it doesn't look that great. They might buy this picture, but a little bit later, if I would have waited just a hair longer, this would have been a better shot. But not this long. This is too long. So now I've waited too long to take this picture, and this just doesn't look good at all. So this just not a good, you can't see anybody's face. You can't see what's going on here. These legs look like they're crisscrossed, like not real good look. Same thing here. Now we're getting into another butt shot here. Now the horse's butt looks good, but a lot of people don't like a picture of their butt. And then the legs on this horse are just kind of gathered up under him again. So we don't want that. Just not a good look. Just don't bother taking this picture. We really only need 2 shots on each barrel. It's just way too early. This horse is all sprawled out. Look, these back legs are way back here. They're not driving. They've already done their job. They've already pushed. There's no muscle in this horse's butt. You know, it's like already stretched all the way out. So those muscles aren't pushing. And then she's like reared back. Like she's like, oh, whoa, slow down, right? So she's, you know, not in a good body position. She's pulling on the head. She's not going to like this shot. So don't take that shot. That's way too early. Way too early. Okay, this shot, kind of cool. They don't mind this like coming in shot like we talked about earlier, but look at these back legs. They're all sprawled out. You know, some of this you can't help. Like you got to go fast, but I don't like this shot. I try not to take this. They're still trying to slow this horse down to come into the barrel, and people don't love that shot. And then this shot a little bit too late. Like we should have had these front feet planted here and not kind of like gathered up or not kind of coming up. So they're not up enough and they're not down enough. They're in between the shots. So we should have had them planted in like that V with the front feet boom, boom into the dirt, or wait just a tiny bit longer and let them come all the way up. See, like this planted in the dirt, that's okay, but it's like a little bit too late. Like it should have been the planted before this frame. It should have been that shot. But then there's this, and this is okay if this is what you get. But they're kind of crisscross. We're starting to kind of come around that barrel a little bit too far already. And then this one, like, you know, we got this weird kind of S shape here. It goes this way and then it goes that way. And it's just not a good look yet. We want to have them coming straight out of that. So we should have waited for one more stride to take that kind of shot. And this shot, this is okay. Like this horse is driving. It really wants to run home. It's trying for its owner or rider, and we're trying to do something. So that front leg's starting to come up. That's okay. This is a pretty good shot. They probably would have bought that shot. And then this shot, this is good. Like she's focused on coming home, and we got back legs down, driving, front legs up, reaching. Horse's ears are pinned back. Like this is a good shot. People would buy this shot all day long. This is not a good shot. These horses got one leg down, 3 up. These are just kind of wonky. Like, is this horse in the middle of a buck? Like, what's going on here? You know, you're not really sure what's happening in the image. Like, is this horse going forward? Is it about to have a wreck? Like, you don't know what's going on. And then try to time out this over-under. That's really hard to do, considering all the things you got to think about. I just worry about the horse's feet, and like if that over-under's on their face, like, well, that sucks. But whatever. If this was timed out better, generally they're over-undering in time with their horse, so it usually ends up looking good. But if you take this picture, nobody's going to buy this picture. This picture, though, this looks good. This horse is fully stretched out. I wish its tail was like straight out instead of doing whatever weird thing it's doing. But we've got 2 back legs driving. They're a little sprawled out for me. Not really my ideal shot, but it's pretty close. And then the front is reaching. So you got one up and one that's reaching. And then this horse is, you know, it's driving. Everything's driving. She has popped up a little bit out of the saddle, so not ideal, but pretty close. So this is a good horse position here. It doesn't look like it's going to fall over. It looks like it's driving forward. You can see we got forward motion. The horse is doing his job. Let's just go through this one more time with a different run here. We got too early. This is okay. This is not okay. This is too early. We wanted that next foot to come up here and plant. This horse is like maybe crawling around the barrels. Not a real great shot there either. This is a pretty decent shot. It's not really the classic kind of shot, but it's a good shot. It's good. This horse is planted. It looks like everything is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And then this horse is all gathered up underneath of himself. Not real good. We want these front legs stretched out, reaching like this. See, this is a good shot there. People would buy this shot all day long. Them driving towards second barrel. Good shot right there. Okay, bad shot. Legs gathered up. Not real cool. Kind of in between strides, right? So not really that great. This is just a hair too early. So I would want this next leg to have come up here and come in, and then this back end to be getting down into the dirt. So it's already started to kind of pop them legs up and go down. So if this was just like a little bit later, we'd be okay. This is just too early. And then this is a fairly decent, it's not the best classic second barrel shot, but you got these front feet pegged in the ground. They're making that nice V with the front end here. It's just like a hair too early. So that inside leg hasn't quite planted down and in right there yet. But we do have her coming around nice and tight around that barrel. She looks good. She's not pulling too hard. everything looks pretty decent here. Okay, we usually have a little bit of tail kicking out on that barrel. That's when you know we got a pretty good shot here. It is just a teeny tiny bit too early, but not bad, not bad. Okay, and then this one is too late, so we've already planted and then picked up this outside leg coming around here. If that would have been planted a little bit sooner, if we would have taken this shot just a little bit sooner than this, we would have had a nice classic second barrel shot, and then there would have been just a tiny little gap between there, or probably no gap. If it was a little bit earlier than that, that gap would have closed. She would have been nice and tight around that barrel and looked really good there. Again, this isn't too bad with this front leg coming up there. A lot of people will still buy this picture, but it's just not ideal. It's not your classic second barrel shot. This horse is like running around the barrel instead of planting, turning, and going like a lot of them do. So this isn't really ideal. This is way too late. And then this is all these legs gathered up under him is not a good look. So we don't like that. This one is this is the other shot that I would take on second. So I usually take this classic shot like this, a little bit later than this, a tad after that, and then I wait for that shot there, and that's kind of what you want. And I don't mind having some where you can't see their face because some people just don't like their face. We've talked about that in other videos. This is too late. We don't like this. The back legs are up, the front legs are down. This is not okay. And then this is okay. This is like what you would want to see if you're shooting from somewhere else, right? This would be cool. But from here, we just don't like the butt shots. Okay, again, another butt shot. If you can see their horseshoes, this is not a good shot. Again, I'm taking way too many shots after the barrel, right? And too many shots before the barrel. So no, right? There. And aside from the barrel tipping over, this would have been a good shot. So if they wouldn't have hit the barrel, this would have been good. You know, this front leg up and the other front leg down, and the rear end is down, right? So the horse looks good here, but you know, they just nicked that barrel. And then again, this is too late or too early. This is in between strides. The feet are gathered up. We don't want that. And then we don't want this. And we try not to have them where the barrel's covering up them, but it doesn't look that bad. Like if we zoomed in and we crop this, you know, a little bit tighter, that's a little too tight, but you know, if we crop this in for them and we just did like a social media picture or something, you know, that would be okay. They'd probably buy that, I suppose. And then we're blurry, but we're still not real good. So what I'd want to have here is have like one leg down, like opposite legs down, opposite legs up, and really driving, and then obviously not be blurry. So like this here where we got one leg down and then the opposite leg is down and then these two legs up, that's usually a good frame. That's usually a good body position for a horse. And this one's got the nice tail that's sweeping out. So this generally looks good. This is a little bit late because this hoof is like this, or it's a little bit too early. If it was like back more, it'd be nice, but whatever. We're right there. Okay, so that's it. I just want to show you a couple of different runs in the same arena doing the same thing, and I had to go way back in the day because like my timing wasn't very good. So I want to show you a lot of pictures with bad timing because you've already seen other pictures that are perfectly timed, and that timing is everything slideshow. So go watch that if you want to see like a lot of perfectly timed pictures. But this will show you pictures not to take, which is also equally helpful.